communication.
So we did, earlier this winter, receive a letter from the Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors. And they informed us that our athletic director, Scott Elliott, was selected to receive the Robert Duncanson Materials Service Award. To recognize athletic administrators for exemplary service to high school athletics and pay tribute to those who have administered their programs with integrity, dignity, and honor. So Mr. Elliott will be given this award at a banquet on Thursday evening, March 26th. So again, the Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors has selected Mr. Elliott to receive this award. So congratulations to Mr. Elliott.
Thank you. Public participation. In accordance with Board Bylaws 9011, we invite public participation. We allot a total of 30 minutes, and each community member is allowed 2 minutes. Is there any member of the community who would like to make a public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Moved by Brian, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. That is Carrie, John, Nicole, Brian, Dawn, Rachel, Danelle, and Elizabeth. All those opposed? And abstentions. Student representatives report.
Okay, so we don't have much, but we have a few things. So we just returned from our long winter break. We have started to prepare for midterms and or finals, depending on if you have a half-year class or a full-year class. They are starting this Thursday, and they go until, I believe, next Wednesday. This marks our half-year point. Some students have said that they wish that midterms were before winter break, so they weren't cramming to study and relearn what they had forgotten over break. And that way they weren't stressed when they came back to school and started off with a fresh semester as well. We're getting back into our regular schedules. Semester stew starts on the 22nd of January, right after the last scheduled midterm day. There was a basketball game for the girls home tonight at 4:30 and 6:30, and a boys basketball away game at 4:30 and 6.
Recently we had our Ag Holiday Party, which was on December 18th from 2 to 3:30. There were games, karaoke, food, gingerbread decorating. We also had, so in Ag we have what are called junior officers. So we have our big FFA officers and then junior officers. So junior officers are kind of like our little shadows. So they kind of help us out and learn from us. So actually funny, my junior officer and 2 others were pied in the face because we held a little razor where you pay to have a student get pied in the face, and that was really funny. At our most recent meeting, we're planning for FFA week, which is a really big thing for Ag. It is from February 23rd to February 27th. So I came up to the idea we wanted to, so basically what it is Ag celebrates our National FFA week, and we dress up every day to represent it. So we have things such as America Monday. So you kind of wear like outfits that kind of go with your theme. You have like Camo Tuesday, so you wear all your camo clothes. So we had wanted to send out a Google form to students to see what theme days they would want to do, and wanted to do a reflection one after the week. We also have on the 25th of February, a lunch in the middle of the day where teachers come to Ag and the FFA officers will be eating with them, and we typically love doing that. We want to do farm visits so classes can go to farms and visit them all. So, example, we wanted to go to some horse farms and we wanted to go to business places. We also want to send thank you buckets to the farms that we visit, because that's always a big thing. We have what we call Ag Olympics, which is on the 27th of February, which is also very fun and funny. We also want to do community service ideas, and we also have our public speaking coming up soon in February. Following that, we have the vendor fair, which is happening on Saturday, February 14th, and that is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It is held at the Lebanon Congregational Church. For the goal for this is for people to shop at the local vendors, to enjoy a bake sale, have a food truck, and kind of just support the chapter as a whole. There's a limit of 32 tables, and students will help set up the vendor fair on the 13th from 6 to 7, and then they had also wanted kids to come help throughout the day, set up the bake sale table, and clean up. Then we have our Disney trip coming up for FFA. So this was offered to kids in aquaculture and horticulture. The trip overall for per student is $1,859. So this includes their airfare, hotel accommodations, overnight security guard to ensure student safety, meals, parking tickets, and special tours. They had fundraisers such as the Fall Bulb fundraiser. They get to do things as like the Imagination Campus, which is like the leadership, the way Disney does it. They have a behind the scenes tour, Caring for Giants tour, and they also get 3-night hotel accommodations. And thankfully, we have our parent alumni who is giving $300 to 5 applicants for students, which is a really big thing. It gets put directly into their student trip accounts. Then recently, we had our vet tech class go to the Lebanon Vet, which has been awesome. I'm in that, and it was really cool. We got to do a lot of lab work and diagnosis, so we got to learn how to read a packaged cell volume to determine if a pet is healthy enough for surgery. We also did clinical analysis, so the group explored blood sugar testing and urinalysis. Then we also got to learn about radiology, so we got to practice orienting and reviewing x-rays. And we also got to do preventative care education, so we got to compare and contrast a healthy dog uterus with one affected with a severe urine infection, which was really cool. And we also got patient comfort care, so we kind of get to help patients recover safely from amnesia by making warming socks. And then lastly are things just kind of going on in ag. So Parent Alumni also does scholarships at the end of the year for students. So it usually depends, but they are doing that, which is very nice. We also have some new barns of the animals. So the new barns, oh my God, new animals in the barn. And we're welcoming 4 new lambs. Also, the ag program applications are sent out soon. So this is for all the 8th graders who are interested in coming to ag. We also are having our ag superlatives that went out for yearbook. And that's it.
What new animals do you have?
4 new lambs.
Oh, that's it? Just the lambs?
Yeah.
Just the lambs.
I like
Yeah.
variety.
I wanted to say Happy New Year to Cassidy and Austin, but I also wanted to point out that Mrs. Mike has sent out an email to Lyman students encouraging them to look forward to applying to be the next Board of Ed rep. As you remember, we have a senior and a junior. As Cassidy gets ready to graduate, Austin would slide over, and then we bring on a junior in that seat.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Reports of committees. I'm just going to go around the table. So Carrie, superintendent evaluation.
We met last week and then we'll be discussing later this evening.
Nicole, facilities.
Okay, so we actually had 2 meetings. One was in conjunction with the school renovation committee last Friday. We did a walkthrough of just Lyman. It was all we had time for. It was an eye-opening experience because we did not know what poor condition Lyman is, and especially with the outside masonry that continues to decay. Not the bricks, we're talking about the blocks. So hopefully those things will be addressed with the school renovation committee. Then just highlighting some spots that are still, there's drainage issues inside the school causing problems with the ceiling. men's room, women's rooms. These are all things that should be looked at with the school renovation committee. And then we met this evening, and so one of the items was talking about the catch basins, which all 3 are completed. The outdoor basketball court at LMS are in the planning stages, but that is a 2-year out project. The exterior door at LMS, the parts are still on back order. The air handler at LMS, both coils got replaced. There is one belt that is still broken, so we're waiting for that. And then the fire pump at LES, which happens to be such an issue for our facilities director. We're still waiting for connections to take place, but the anticipated date for that to all happen will be on Monday. And we talked about the snow and ice removals company, which is Backeye, and that is going very well, and we will be going out to bid again late spring. The walkthrough at Lyman, I just talked about that. And then finally, we talked about the LES boilers. We had some cylinders replaced, a fuel pump replaced. MCOR recommended that we put some sort of heat in the boiler room, like an electric heater or a heat exchanger to heat the oil so it does not gel. And then they recommended also to maybe replace some burners to save money down the road. And then we may have to replace some ropes, but that would be that's to be determined. So, a lot happening.
Just wanted to confirm, John, we didn't end up having to replace the pump.
We did not replace the fuel pump.
Okay, sorry. Just their cylinders, right?
Yeah, the high fire oil cylinders.
Okay, so they thought it was a fuel pump issue, but it ended up not being.
That'd be in the clogged fuel solenoids. Fuel solenoids.
That's it. Any questions for Nicole? Ryan, safety and security.
We haven't met with, we have it teed up for February.
Brian and Rachel are both on the school building renovation committee.
Just that, as Nicole alluded, we spent 2 hours in Lyman and outside of Lyman last Friday afternoon. Probably a solid half that time, so an hour probably, we were outside the exterior of the building. And as Nicole said, our brickwork is in some pretty awful shape. There's some significant issues too with exterior windows, to be determined on what's going to happen with that. What we can do about that. But we went through the entire building. There was a whole troop of us that went through inside and outside Lyman, but it was an eye-opening walk for all of us, and provided us with invaluable information as far as next steps we need to discuss on the school renovation committee.
Kathleen Smith was there as well and had a lot of questions and thoughts specifically for Lyman because it is designated a emergency shelter. So on the town side, they need to make sure that everything is up to code and able to work when needed. Rachel, finance.
We have met.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Do you know, I know you have a meeting coming up, but the goal for walking through the other 2 schools?
Ideally, I want to see how we quickly or we churn through the Lyman information. That'll probably take us a couple of meetings, but I would guess my goal would, I'd like to get through them hopefully sometime in March, latest is March, so early spring.
I apologize.
We have met 3 times. We met on the 16th of December, January 6th, and then we met again today. On the 16th, we just went over the budget for the operating and then the capital. On the 6th, we took a deeper dive into the capital, discussed some changes, moving some items out of capital into operating because they are yearly renovations or updates. that need to be done. I shouldn't say renovations, updates that need to be done, so it's more of a operating cost than it is a capital cost. That need to be kept up with every single year, like catch basins, for example. And then today we just, we took a look at those final numbers, which we have an action item later today. We started to look, we did a preview of the slide presentation that Andy has put together. And then we went over the student tuition, which is also an action item later today.
Thank you. And school committee.
Not me.
Carl, policy.
Policy. I got it.
You are the chair of the policy subcommittee. The question is if you met and if you have a report.
I wasn't aware that I was reporting.
Okay. It was sent out in an email and it's also posted on our website. So you are chair of the policy subcommittee. Elizabeth, negotiations.
We didn't meet, but Andy and I touched base today just to kind of get the groundwork ready for when we do meet. So we're just waiting to hear from Andy on when we receive demands to bargain from the 2 units that contracts have up.
Thank you. EastCon is vacant, and governance, the only thing we received an acknowledgement, and we hope that Andy would read it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lyman Memorial High School has earned a place on the College Board AP School Honor Roll for the 24-25 school year. The AP School Honor Roll recognizes schools that have done outstanding work to welcome more students into AP courses and support them on the path to college success. The Senior Vice President, Trevor Packer, says, "We know it takes a significant school-wide effort, dedication from teachers, counselors, administrators, students, and parents to make AP access a priority." So this is a nice recognition. We'll be celebrating it in some of our future publications.
Nice. Good job, Lyman.
The administrators' reports, they start on page 22 of your board packet, and there's an additional report attached to the email. Would anybody like to add to the reports, do any board members have any questions or comments? Okay. I appreciate getting them early so that I can read them. Report of the superintendent.
Yeah, so we've had this town surplus projects as a standing item on the agenda, so I just give you a little bit more of an update and reminder. So the community had voted to approve the 3 projects within the district using town surplus projects that town surplus funds. That was the track at the high school, parking lots in all 3 of the buildings, and then enhancements to our camera system. So requests for proposals will be posted in early February for work to add the security cameras in our schools and make parking lot repairs, as well as seal and line stripe the surfaces at all the 3 schools. John and I have had conversation, and we hope to fast track the camera work because that's not weather dependent, and we can do that while school is in session. The parking lot work will be done over the summer, and that's gonna take some careful planning and coordination because we have extended school years at the elementaries. We are going to have, sports practices going on at the high school. We have our orientation and stuff towards the end of the summer. So we'll have to be very thoughtful about how we get that done. And then similarly with the track, we hope to get that going right at the end of the school year because it's going to take a significant amount of time. And then trying to coordinate the track with the parking lot crack sealing and line striping as we have those machines coming in and out will be something we'll have to be mindful of as well. As far as the 26-27 budget, I know Rachel just mentioned kind of what we've been doing in our finance subcommittees and where we stand. This week, I started actually today by visiting the high school and sharing the draft presentation. I'll be going to the elementary school tomorrow, and later in the weeks I'll be going to the middle school. That way staff has some firsthand knowledge on what is being brought forth to you all. I'll be making that formal presentation to the full board in February. I'll make sure to get you that in advance of that meeting so you have an opportunity to review it. We will be meeting again as a subcommittee to fine-tune that presentation and make further adjustments to the budget if necessary. Something that I do think is of note, we did have a meeting in weeks past with our insurance broker, and they informed us that we should anticipate a 25% insurance hike. So Martha and Haley on the town side have adjusted our budget proposals accordingly.
Any questions for Andy?
All right, so in the finance report, the only things I'd like to point out is on page 1, you can see that pupil transportation, we're already in the negative there. And then our school tuition is dwindling away. These are for students that were not part of our operating budget that have required some outplacement services. So we have been communicating this to our Board of Finance in town on a monthly basis, just so that they're aware of that situation. And then on the final page, just bringing your attention that our general fund overall remaining percent is at 46.9, which is a little bit above the historical comparison for that 5-year period.
Any questions?
I think at the previous meeting, I heard something about the state possibly funding special education transportation.
So the state has been working to try to not allow facilities to change their rates during like a budget cycle. I have not heard about them paying for transportation services like.
No grants or anything.
There is something called a seed grant, and we're using some of that funding currently for staffing. But again, I have not heard, I don't know, Dawn, have you heard anything about transportation services being paid for? No. That would be great.
I think
Um,
That would be great.
Any questions on the finance report that Martha or I could answer? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. You're not done yet.
Non-lapsing.
19,000.
To that page.
If you're on the PDF, it's page 34.
So we have $28,574 remaining in the balance after the in-progress projects. Right now, we've been using that non-lapsing account as emergency only. So there's nothing on the table right now that we're aware of that's going to require us to go into non-lapsing. But as John has shared in his facilities reports, especially in the winter season, a lot of our mechanical systems require some repair, and those things are very difficult to budget for. So if anything comes up, we'll be bringing it to the board for your approval.
Did you say 28,000?
Oh, is this, maybe the sheet that I have is not reflective of that ERV coil.
It's 19,254.
Sorry,
That's okay.
this was my own
You
note
have a
sheet.
different.
Yeah, this is my own
They're
note
probably
sheet.
adding the payment to the New England Mechanical for you.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
that would-
for the second ERV coil.
Thank you. Any questions? Move on to unfinished business. If you remember from the last meeting, we have an item that was tabled. And according to Robert's rules, it has to be listed on the next regular meeting as unfinished business, so it is there. If anyone would like to discuss it, it needs to be taken from the table, and it needs to be a motion to take it from the table.
I'll make a motion to take it from the table.
Okay? Motion by Rachel. Is there a second?
Just to clarify, this is gonna be an action item if it's taken off the table?
If it's taken off the table, it goes immediately, and I heard Elizabeth second, immediately to where it was left off, and it was an
It's
action item.
Okay, great.
Seconded by Elizabeth. It's now an action item, and in order to have a conversation about it, it requires a motion.
So a motion to take it to vote?
Yeah, like how we may have done a motion last time, like a motion to approve it.
I can motion to approve it to take so that we can start talking about it. Sure, yeah. Motion to approve the proposed,
The new course.
proposed course of science fiction and the human condition.
Second.
Motion by Carrie, seconded by Nicole. Now we can have discussion. Is there discussion? No.
So as chair of this subcommittee, I did a little bit more research about the topic, the proposal. I think it's a very interesting course, reading science fiction, comparing it to AI, and man versus machine and all that. But I have hesitated to put another course forward for all these ELA electives. We already have 6 options for grade 10 through 12. Actually, more than that, it's because we still have senior AP offered and for literature and reading. So there's at least six electives already out there. This is only our 2nd year running through it. This particular course, to me, though it's worthy of a true elective that you could take, not as a course for students to get their core 10th, 11th, or 12th grade credits. Looking through the 3 main texts that are suggested to be offered here, one of them is already being offered in another course. The book Frankenstein is already listed under Heroes and Monsters, I believe it is. So it's got 3 main novels to read, which are hefty 200, 300-page books, plus some other supplemental material. I personally, as an English teacher, don't think it's enough content, enough literature to be used, again, as a core credit course for high school English.
Any other comments? Questions?
I have a comment. As a language arts teacher, I do not want to stifle the teachers' recommendations on trying to have these students read. Because as we know, like they're not reading enough. And so if these teachers feel that this is a course that will spark some interest, especially the topic science fiction, which is definitely the world that these students are living in right now, and that would even get like 10 students interested to read, I think it's worth it. I believe in more choice for these kids, because if you don't give them enough choice, they're just not gonna read. And that's the problem we face in teaching kids. So I would propose approving this so that the teachers are allowed to make these decisions on which courses to offer.
Anyone else? Or we have to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity first.
I guess my only comment is, like, I see both sides. Like, I think it's great. I agree to get a new offering, and I don't really think I think if the teacher thinks it's going to be an effective class, like, that we should let them have it. I see Danelle's point, though. Like, there's so many choices already. It's a whole other subject, I think, or a topic, I guess, to like figure out how those are maybe better organized so that the kids have a chance to do them all, or figure out when they can do them. But putting another one in there, if we think it's going to get 20 kids to sign up, like, I don't really see the harm in, I guess, adding it. But I also don't have a high schooler, so maybe it's more chaos than I realize. But I'm for approving it, I guess.
I see Danelle's hand. We have to make sure everybody has the opportunity first. No.
I think, so part of my research was just looking up what some of the state standards are for a good curriculum. And as we all know, varied options are excellent. But I think when we start having these, again, this is a bigger picture, but I know the topic is about this particular course. Mm-hmm. So before you say something, I'm very conscious of it.
You're like reading my mind.
Yeah. So having this one topic be science fiction we're not varying our fiction, nonfiction texts. We're making this one whole semester focusing on science fiction and all the topics that go with it, which are varied, but it doesn't make our text varied. We have novels and short stories or whatever, but they're all on the same theme, and this is where I hesitate to say a 10th grader could study their whole English semester just science fiction. How about poetry? How about drama? How about historical fiction? Like, there's so many other options out there, but to put a 10th grader or 11th grader for a whole semester just to be reading science fiction, to me is like, it's not enough variety, and the state asked for us to give variety. And so, again, I don't want to talk about the big picture, the big change of the ELE department too much, but I think this is my hesitation to say that's what you could do the whole time. If you look at some of the other options we have, like animals in nature, they vary in their material. You're talking about an owl or you're talking about a farm. This one is science fiction. Okay, Frankenstein is one of the books. What's the other one? Jurassic Park is another one. And then there's a third one, I, Robot, I think is a collection of short stories. So I did some research about it, and I just felt like this one is too zeroed in on one topic for me to be comfortable. Plus, I think you're talking about the chaos, Carrie. I don't want to use the word chaos because we worked it out this year so far. But I think just having another elective option is just going to add to the scheduling problem, and as a bigger picture. But I also think that we talk about student choice, Nicole, and I think that when we say student choice, well, we did our representatives did a survey, and 60% of the students said they are satisfied with the current offerings. So to me, we need to listen to the students more with that. Or here's another option. If you want to know what the kids want to do, let's ask the kids. I don't know that any survey was put out, and the kids said, let's have a sci-fi class. What I saw from the survey was that there were 12 suggested courses, and only one was for ELA, and it was creative writing. And that won't count for literature, but it would count for writing. So I don't think we should push every course forward that a teacher submits. I think this is what we're here for. We're a board of education. We all have different opinions. And just because someone put a course forward doesn't mean we need to accept it. And I keep hearing, it doesn't mean it's going to run. But if you approve it, it could run. So we need to make sure we do our homework, we do a little research on things, and we consider things more than just, oh, a teacher said we could do it. I'm sorry, I don't think this one is worthy of another elective option. That's my opinion. Rachel.
You said this runs a semester. I don't have a high school, so is a semester half the year or quarter of the year?
So, half.
Semester is half.
The other half of their semester should be a writing lab. It doesn't always work out that way. Here's the schedule.
Any other comments?
Could that be clarified? Sorry.
Say that again.
Am I?
Go ahead, yep.
You said per semester, so do they, or is it like a reading class one semester and then an LA class the second semester?
It's supposed to be reading one semester and writing labs another, because they redid this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Ninth grade stays the same. They have the traditional English 9 with all kinds of things woven for the entire year. But 10th and 11th and 12th graders get to choose an elective, but you have to have 4 English credits. And so 2 years ago, we came up with options that they could take. And so one of them is they could take drama. Drama would run the entire semester. When the semester's over, that period should turn into writing. And they have writing labs, which are all mixed grades, 10, 11, writing is specific to the grade, but reading could be 10, 11, 12 together. Sorry, there's so much to explain it. When I say it doesn't always happen, just because of scheduling, some kids I know this semester did not get any reading because of the schedule. So they're gonna have reading and writing 2 different periods next semester, just as an example.
Got it, thank you.
I think it's rough to make these decisions because we're the Board of Ed and these teachers are professionals, and without hearing their reasoning for coming up with this course, I don't think they just invented this in their head and said, hey, let's just throw this one out. I think there was a lot of meetings that took place and collaboration amongst themselves to think that this was a good idea. And so I'm gonna trust the professionals that are working within this building, that are in this area, to make that decision and bring it forward. If they brought it forward to us, and that means they believe in it and they know the nuts and bolts of it, of how this is going to function. So that is, I'm trusting their judgment.
comments? Questions? Okay. So again, the motion is to approve the proposed course. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Carrie, John, Nicole, Dawn, Rachel, and Elizabeth. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Brian, Danelle, and Carl. Motion passes. Moving on to action items. We have 13 second readings. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve action items 1 through 13. They're all second reads on the policies that we talked about the last 3 months.
Motion on the floor is to approve action items 1 through 13. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Brian, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion? See Danelle and then Elizabeth.
So for the first one, high school graduation requirements, I just need a little clarification. I think it's the way the language is on the first page. It says, well, skipping down for class of 27, for example, since that's the next. Sorry, we can start at 25. It says, for classes graduating in 2026, the following 26 credits are required. And if I add them up, I only get 23. 9 in humanities, 9 science technology, 1 phys ed, 1 health, 2 language, and 1 mastery base adds up to 23. And then the same thing happens with the second one for the class of 27. It says the following 25 credits are required, and if you add them up, it comes up to 21.5. I think it's missing a section that says electives. That would make up for the difference. What page is this in the packet, Dawn? I printed it.
53.
53.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I'm like,
It starts at 53, but it's in a different,
yeah, mine,
it's not in the same order as
December's,
yeah.
the first reading.
are you looking at December's?
Yeah.
I have so many documents open right now.
It's page 1 of December's, I think, is what I'm trying to find.
Yeah, it is. Of the policy.
Yeah, I just wanted to just see just the policies, not other documents, so. I did not do math, so.
Does that up to 23?
Instead of 25.
So would we have to take no action, make the revisions and bring it back for February?
Correct.
Yep, so will you
Yep.
accept
Mhm.
amending the motion to
Yep.
remove
Yep.
that,
Act
number
on
one?
items 2 through 13.
Yes,
Agree with that?
I agree.
Also have one more question on the policies.
On the same policy?
Yeah,
Okay.
down at the
Thanks
bottom,
for catching that math.
down at the bottom where it says humanities, it says including civics and the arts, and that says 4 credits in English, 3 credits in social studies, including civics and US history. I need clarification that civics is a 1 semester course, so that's 0.5 credits. And then US history, I think, is a whole junior course, which is 1 whole credit.
Mhm.
What's the spring class of the civics year?
That's
Early
the
US
early Connecticut history,
Okay,
Early US history.
early US history.
okay. Maybe that could be put in there, that that's a half credit, I don't know.
Thank you. Elizabeth.
Actually, need clarification on that as well. The underclass graduating in 2026, the credits, none of that's in blue or Is it new, proposed?
So for this month, it's already cleaned up because we did our
Okay.
first read. So
Got it.
that's why I wanted to go back to the December one. So dates have been updated.
Okay.
The credits went from 26 to 25. And there's world languages went from 2 credits to 1.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Let's see. In the proposed changes to the policy 1003, so that's non-discrimination community. The same thing for 4012, non-discrimination for personnel. Human trafficking is proposed as an addition to the listing of protected classes, but it's not defined in those policies like other protected classes are. Is that intentional, or I guess I'm curious as to why it's not defined.
Those two were ones that, if I could, were specifically from Shipman and Goodwin.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you'd like me to bring that back to them and ask them, but that was the recommended policy.
Okay.
Directly from the attorneys.
But if there's interest in
Yep.
asking for a definition so that it's uniform, consistent throughout, I think that we could entertain that as well.
I guess I'd be curious as either way, like, was it an oversight, or is there a rationale for not including?
And if I may, we could approve the policy as is and then bring it to a future policy with that revision. I don't think I think that's a little bit different,
Sure.
because I think right now there's an error versus an omission.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Would you
Yep.
reach out to Rich?
And then I had a question about policy 5026. There's reference to the board's medical advisor, and I couldn't find what's the definition of that. And it might be in another policy. The policies are a little hard to search on the website, so I'm just wondering if I could get some clarification on who is
What the,
yeah.
what the school medical
So
advisor
we have a medical
does.
director, a doctor, that
Okay.
the nursing staff will
Provides like standing orders and
Okay.
things like that.
Okay.
standing protocols.
There are a couple, and maybe they're in the second read, it's different, because I was looking at the one with the changes with the different colors, but there's a number of times that opioid is misspelled, and it looks like, when I was looking at everything, that most of the proposed changes propose to change the reference to naloxone to opioid antagonist, but there are a couple that were missed, so I didn't know if that was an oversight or if that was intentional. I'm gathering it was an oversight.
I can send those back to Shipman and let them know that
Yeah.
our careful attention has caught errors on their part.
And then the last thing, and just a handful of gendered terms throughout the policy, so like he, she, him, her appears a couple times, is using gender neutral terms something that we can consider in policy revisions?
And they have.
Yeah.
Many of the previously approved recommendations have been minor adjustments with those type of changes, that those are ones that we've talked about in the past, have not really come forth to the board. They're just minor adjustments that I can make. But yeah, that is something that
Okay.
Shipman has been making sweeping changes.
Great. That was it, thank you.
Any other? No.
Back to the graduation requirements one, I had a suggestion, I don't know if this is more for my committee to talk about, a strategic plan, but, we talk about graduation requirements in different schools and the way they have it set up. Sometimes on the elective category, they'll add things like must include a career in tech ed or fine arts course. And I was thinking of that, it depends how many electives we have in the end, because it could help increase our low enrollment classes by saying you have to pick a tech ed or a fine arts or a career-minded class. Thinking of like shop or our music department, there's a ton of kids that take art classes with the art teacher. There's so many that he has like 5 classes going on at once. Maybe if you had some kind of, it's not a disclaimer, it's a star, like must include one credit in fine arts or, again, career-minded, career tech ed. Just a thought.
Yep. Any other questions, comments? Okay. The motion is to approve action items 2 through 13. Motion by Brian, seconded by Nicole. All those in favor, please raise your hand. That is unanimous. Next action item is 14, act on 2026-2027 capital budget requests. And if you're following along on the PDF, that is page 43. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the 2026-27 capital budget requests.
Second.
Motion by Nicole, seconded by Brian. Discussion. Excuse me. Brian.
I will just say that the subcommittee has had some spirited discussion on the capital item requests. So what came forward was a byproduct of that.
Questions? Comments?
Question?
No.
I'm asking a question about the middle school basketball hoop. Is it a permanent structure or will it be moved to various places? I'm assuming it's permanent, it's 35,000.
These are at the middle school, they do not go up.
3,500.
No, sorry.
3,500.
No, there's two different ones.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm sorry, I'm asking about.
So there's the one that's outside for the driveway, and it is 3,500, and then there's one that's 35,000, that's
Okay.
the indoor hoops.
Okay.
So currently, the indoor hoops don't move.
Yeah.
So like if we needed to raise them for a particular PE activity, or if we wanted to move them so they're not obstructing the view.
No, I got the two mixed up.
Yeah.
I thought the outdoor one was 35,000.
No.
She's seen the ones at the middle school inside. Sorry, I jumped right to the outside ones. Any other questions? Comments? Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. That is Carrie, John, Nicole, Brian, Dawn, Rachel, Danelle, and Elizabeth. All those opposed, please raise your hand. That's Carl. Motion passes. Next, we have act on the 2026-2027 tuition rates. Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the recommended 2026-2027 tuition rates.
Second.
Motion by Brian, seconded by Nicole. If you are following along, that is page 48. Any discussion? No.
I do have a question. It has to do with the services and evaluations rate too, because that's going up 3.5%, or could be if we vote on that. Why are we only increasing Franklin's tuition by 2.5%?
Yeah, so each of our sending school districts have individual contracts, and those individual contracts were all done at different times and were potentially done by different law firms. So there are subtleties amongst each of them, and Franklin has a provision in its contract that you can't increase by more than 2.5.
Question. Any questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. That is unanimous. Next is to act on new course book, Fundamentals of Welding. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the new course book, Fundamentals of Welding.
Would you like to second it?
I second that.
Okay. She was raising her hand. That's okay. Motion by Nicole, seconded by Danelle. I wrote second. Discussion. All those in favor, please raise your hand. That is unanimous. Next, act on new course book, OpenStax Chemistry 2E. Is there a motion? Danielle?
Accept
I saw you looking.
2E.
Looking right at her.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
seconded by Nicole. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. That is unanimous. Next, act on FFA field trip. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the FFA field trip.
By Nicole, is there a second? Seconded by Carrie. Discussion.
Where are we going?
Would you mind reminding the
Yeah,
board?
Mr. Epicelis said he would not mind coming up and giving some information.
Perfect. Before you do that, come up, but
Come up, okay.
can you remind why we don't approve every?
Why we don't?
Yeah, I mean, I could if.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
The things that come to us are out of state and overnight.
Oh.
Sorry, you were reading my
No.
mind.
I didn't know, I could have spoke to that. I don't know
Yeah.
why you choose to.
Well, because there are new board
approve or not
members, and
approve.
this is a
Yeah.
first. It's why it comes to the board for approval. We don't approve every single.
So, this proposed field trip is from our ag department, and it's on studying agriculture in Ireland.
No way.
Yes.
Chaperones?
Yes. The teacher who's going gave me a long list of things here just to read off to everybody. The primary goal of the Ireland educational trip is to provide students with an immersive, standards-aligned learning experience in agriculture, environmental science, equine science, aquaculture, and STEM that cannot be replicated in a traditional classroom or through domestic travel, while also exposing students to real-world career pathways in these fields. Through hands-on engagement at dairy, cattle, produce, shellfish, and sheep farms, along with visits to sustainability-focused sites such as the cliffs of, and again, I'm not Irish here, Moher? Is that how you say that? M-O-H-E-R? Okay. Interpretive Center, and the Irish Racehorse Experience at the Irish National Stud. Students will explore food systems, animal science, land use, and environmental stewardship in a global context. Students will directly compare, and this is where I think this is pretty cool, students will directly compare how differences in geography, climate, land availability, environmental and agricultural policies, and cultural traditions shape agriculture in Ireland versus Connecticut and the United States. They will examine how Ireland's maritime climate and pasture-based livestock systems differ from those commonly used in the U.S., as well as how European approaches to animal welfare and coastal resource management influence farming practices. Students will also explore how generational farming practices and community land stewardship affect sustainability and management decisions, including traditional sheep production systems that are deeply tied to Ireland's landscape and rural culture. These experiences directly connect to our school's South Down sheep breeding program and the student opportunities to show livestock. Examining these cultural traditions supports NGSS aligned goals by requiring students to analyze systems, evaluate human-environment interactions, and explain how scientific practices are shaped by environment and social contexts. The shellfish farm experience further introduces students to aquaculture practices such as sustainable seafood production, ecosystem restoration, and maritime resource management, allowing them to compare Irish and U.S. approaches. By interacting with farmers, fishermen, aquaculture specialists, and equine professionals, students will strengthen critical thinking, collaboration, problem solving, while developing a clearer understanding of post-secondary and workforce opportunities in a science-based agriculture environmental fields.
That sounds amazing, and just as a little bit of a calendar tidbit. So this is a Saturday to a Monday, And next year in the 26-27 calendar, our April break is from April 12th through the 16th. So the only day that they would be missing school would be Monday the 19th.
The teacher that is organizing this, Anna Tromza, she actually reached out to 2 companies just to get a preliminary, handle on what this could potentially cost, and has like itineraries. The itineraries are almost identical, and I think partly because she sent one company the itinerary of the other company so that they could see if they could match and give a similar experience. The cost of it was about $4,300 per student. The whole idea of bringing it forward to try and get approval would be so that students could start planning and families could start planning, and they could start putting they could get on like a monthly plan ahead of this, so they could start like putting money away. They can also start doing some fundraisers too. The earlier that we do it, and I've been speaking with one of the companies. It's EF Educational Tours. The other one is Explorica, and we are going to be looking at a third company as well, just to see what people can do. It seems like when you go to one, the other one will match, or maybe go a little bit lower. Then you go back to the other one, and they will match, and maybe maybe we can find you a little money here. So we are trying to see if we can get them down as much as we can. Yes?
Is this open to all 9th through 12th graders?
This would be,
Or just ag?
this is like an ag trip focusing on those kinds of things.
Just ag.
9th through 12th BOAGs.
Anybody would be able to do it. Sorry, guys. Actually, you would be able to go. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Oh,
I keep thinking you're not the senior on the thing. You're coming back.
I
I know.
I'm thinking about it. I don't know. Trip to my homeland.
I've been to Ireland, and they have very different farming practices, so I think these kids will get such an amazing education from that. That'll be amazing for them.
No, that would be really cool.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand.
Thank you.
Next is anticipated executive session for the purpose of discussing the superintendent's mid-year evaluation. Is there a motion to go into executive session? I gotta say,
Nell tried to.
motion by Danelle, seconded by Carrie. All those in favor, please raise your hand. That is unanimous. We will enter into executive session at 8:28 p.m.
Thank you, everyone.